All right, bruh fans, season 4, episode 2, blessings, and I really like this episode. Whew. Okay, now let me try to maintain my professionalism here and say that up front, this episode gets an 8 out of 10. I think this was a excellent complimentary piece to episode 1. Also, I do like the fact that we're getting 2 episodes a week. I think that this should help the momentum of Bruh because, in the past, I think we would get 3 episodes during the premiere week and then 1 episode each Thursday after. But in my opinion, Bruh was never that strong of a series to only have 1 episode drop per week. If it was 2 per week, it definitely would have helped with the flow. And I do think week 1 did pretty well. I think this was a decent start to a relatively short season. We have 4 weeks left. So that's 8 episodes. So between now and August 15th, Bruh will be dropping season 4 content. I know some people will just wait until season 4 ends on August 15th and then binge it all at once. And that's all well and good. To my knowledge, I don't believe there's been any talks of season 5. So I think that based on how well season 4 does in terms of viewership or streaming numbers, that may dictate whether or not season 5 happens. So like I said, I don't know the ins and outs, but based on all the stuff from Tyler Perry Studio that I know have been filmed or renewed, Bruh definitely didn't fall into the category. It did get renewed though, but only for the season that was pre-filmed a year ago. But yeah, I really did like this episode. Rain is introduced and holy crap. Whew. Okay, and again, my score of an 8 has nothing to do with Rain's. There's beauty in the weather, folks. There is beauty in the weather. I'll leave it at that. But okay, so let me get back to my sorry, I'm getting a little flustered here. Let's get back to the review, or start it, because we're 2 minutes in and I haven't even talked about the episode yet. But we kick off with Greg and Darla. So okay, it contradicts what Greg was saying to the boys at the beginning of this season in episode 1 in terms of, hey, me and her chills, ain't nothing happening between us. So it looks like they're, just kind of having a mini makeout session on the couch. But Darla stops him from doing more than just that kiss, because apparently it's I thought we were just friends. And, friends don't typically kiss like that. And basically, I ain't gonna hold you. Darla sounded look, I'm just saying, in terms of this being in the news circulation over the past year, Darla was giving me Tia Mowry vibes in terms I want to be, I want romance. I want to be courted. I want to be sought after and things like that. And it reminds me of that clip from that podcast that she was on. And she talked about how the dating environment isn't what it was way back when, her and Corey first got together before they got married. So Darla, as soon as she said that, I'm like, wait a minute, I heard this before. And yeah, like I said, this contradicts what Greg told the guys, which could hint that he's still feeling awkward about the fact that he's into a trans woman, because he's still self-conscious about what the boys will say about that. And if you go back to what John was asking him in episode 1, and the guy's like, yo man, John, chill with that. It kind of shows that, yeah, Greg is kind of keeping this on the DL, no pun intended. And he doesn't want the guys to know about it. But Darla's like, so I thought we were going to be cool. And that's the thing, though. Regardless how you feel about this storyline, I feel like Darla is a very complex character who I don't know what to make of her in terms of how I feel about the character. Because 1 minute, she's chill, friendly. But then the next, she turns kind of stalkerish, But then I think about season 3 and how random the mood swings were with her. And it's why is Greg even trying to pursue anything with her? Because it's clear she's a bit unstable. But I don't know. Maybe the writing is just a bit different for the character this season. So we'll just have to wait and see how things unfold. But essentially, she tells Greg what her terms and conditions are and just leaves. And Greg is dumbfounded. Yeah. But then we go over to Bill, who reunites with a coach of his from the past, I believe either a high school or college basketball coach. And it's Braxton from the Jamie Foxx show, but no, for real. Great actor. When I first saw him in the thumbnail of the episode, I'm like, wait a minute, that's Braxton from the Jamie Foxx show. But he does a great job portraying a, kind of a veteran coach who's been in the game for a while, no pun intended. And he has wise advice for Bill in his, his trifling love life, if you will. Pretty much he's made a messy bed with possible STIs, and he has to lie in it without protection. No comforter. That's a nasty ass bed. Okay, well, in any case, and look, I'm not saying this in a way of trying to confuse people, but I feel like I need to say this all the time because I get messages and comments. Look, Monty is portraying Bill and Bruh and Rich and Sistas. These are not the same character. They are different characters played by the same actor. This is like the sixth example within the Sisterverse, if you will, where an actor portrays a character that isn't where an actor plays more than one character within the same universe, all right? But basically, this reminds me of when Rich, Tony, and Jordan were first introduced in Sistas, and they mentioned how their college football or basketball coach gave them wise advice. So it seems like the same thing is being done here. But essentially, they reunite for a little bit, and Bill asks, like, hey, can we go out for a little bit? I need some advice about stuff. And so later on, they meet up at like a bar or something, and they talk. And essentially, the coach schools Bill. I just love the fact that, these first two episodes are like a mini recap of the series because the coach is like, wait a minute, so you and your wife, okay, let me get this straight. Make sure I didn't miss anything. So your wife was like your college sweetheart, and then things didn't work out because you didn't want to commit. And she was about to get married, but you literally interrupted the wedding and then got into a fight. And then, without a ceremony, you and Regina just went down to the courthouse to get married. No wedding, no cake, no nothing. And then not long after getting married, you cheat. And not only that, but the side piece is actually married as well. Yeah, and she's pregnant. The side piece? No, my wife. Like, what do I do? It meant for you acting like a spoiled brat. And I love how the coach like stood his ground because Bill's like, come on, man, you ain't got to say all that. It's like, I don't want to hear that. It's like, no, you listen to me. Because I remember when, what was it? When Bill was talking to, was it John or Tom or Mike? I forget who he was talking to last season, but he brought his problems that he started himself to one of the guys, and one of the guys pointed out, like, you kind of did this to yourself, man, but I ain't come over here to be judged or what. Like, Negro, you came over here to tell me what's wrong, and then you want my advice, and when I give you the advice, you act like you don't want it. And it's like, you did this to yourself. I don't feel bad for Bill. Like, season 3 was interesting because I was somewhat feeling okay. Season 3 was written in a way, particularly with Regina and, her mom and whatnot moving into his apartment and just like shifting everything around. Season 3 was written in such a way, like, even though I did not approve of Bill cheating on Regina with Claudia, I saw why he was quote unquote pushed into doing so. Again, I'm not trying to justify or, say, oh, he was right for cheating. I understood why. Now, to be honest here, Regina's pregnant, but I don't feel bad for her because since last season, she literally told Pam this whole thing was revenge. Getting married to Bill, making his life a living hell because he ruined the wedding with Peter. And it's like, well, yo ass, no, I don't feel bad for you because you chose to have sex with Bill in the bathroom of the sandwich shop during your bachelorette party and then go to the altar with Peter the next day. You chose not to marry Peter because you still have feelings for Bill. Then he invites you to move in with him. And then after having sex, he proposes. And then he asks when you want to get married. And then you say the next day, tomorrow. Then you go to the courthouse and get married. Then you act surprised when he cheats. And I don't know. And then now you're pregnant. Again, I don't feel bad. No, I do not. They're both, well, I think Bill is technically more stupid than Regina. Regina had a, plan, but I doubt getting pregnant was part of this plan. Because remember, these two had a falling out in the season 3 finale because even though Regina was definitely suspicious of Bill cheating, she came to the hospital anyway because she felt that with everything going on with Mike, she needed to be there with her man because that's his friend. But then Bill just wasn't feeling any sort of connection with Regina. Like, look, just go home, go away. I don't want you around. So it's interesting how this episode wrote the entire scenario where the coach was giving wise advice. Like, look, stop being a spoiled brat. Focus on your wife. Ain't nothing out here in these streets. I'm just thinking, like, Bill is a grown-ass man, and he needs to be told this, because it's like the character has just been a very, just a hard watch, not acting-wise, but a hard watch since season 1. Like, what grown man could be this dumb? But then you think about it, how the actor who's portraying a different character is with Sabrina, who is just as airheaded as Bill, and it's like, oh, it kind of works out. So, moving on. Good grief. I think one of my favorite subplots of this episode, aside from Rain, but I will get to her later. Gotta save the best for last. Oh, I am not subtle about this crush I have. Wow. Man, I miss bruh. It's been a while, bruh. Okay, so in any case, Tom is getting a offer of a lifetime with a position at the hospital that will definitely suck up the rest of his lifetime. But he is offered the position of being the chief physician because the 74-year-old who is currently in the role is looking to retire. It's like, look, I'm old. I spent decades in this position, and it's time for me to move on. And simply put, you're young. You're a great leader. Everybody looks up to you. And I feel like, because you're single and you don't have any attachments or anything or family and whatnot, you'll be perfect for this job. And I like how the physician doesn't thrust this upon Tom. He lets him know without any uncertain terms, like, look, you're like my first pick, but at the same time, just know like this position, it comes with a lot of sacrifice. Like I myself was married at one point, but it really didn't work out because this job was too demanding. So it just seems to me like I love how this is set up. It's not rushed. It's introduced in this episode, and Tom is like, I'll think about it, because it feels like one of those situations where, well, you know what? The money seems good, and I don't really have much going on in my love life, so maybe I'll take the position. But then it's like, I bet as soon as he decides he'll take it, that's when out of the blue, a love interest will pop up. Now, in the trailer, I think Dina is supposed to be in a, sexual position with Tom, and I'm like, wait a minute, not her again. Yeah, she's adorable, but after what she pulled last season, I didn't think she would be a good fit for Tom. But in any case, we do have some continuity here where I believe, didn't he mention like, oh, you think I'm good for the position, but what about that, disagreement I had with Dr. Johnson? Yeah, because you wanted to go above and beyond, help your patient at one time. And I feel like this is a subtle reference to that wife who was abused by the cop in season 1. The storyline that got dropped at the beginning of season 2. The storyline I brought up in my episode 1 review. If this was a season 1 callback, kudos to these new writers. It's good to know other people remember that stuff aside from me. But yeah, I just like the fact that Tom is thinking it over because this is a big deal. But also the fact that he he did kind of throw a little shade at the doctor after he left the room. It's like, wait, how much time? Because he's like, yeah, I want to, leave this position. And now, I got time to see what's out there. And then as soon as he leaves the room, Tom was like, how much time does he think he has left? And I'm like, damn, Tom, that was messed up. That was messed up. Okay, so, sorry, I'm just looking over the notes. Bear with me. Oh, okay. So, lunch, you got Pam and Regina, and Pam basically tells Regina that she's done with Mike because last night when he got home from hanging out with the boys, she lied to him a second time because in episode 1, she lied about going home. In reality, she hooked up with Regina to go to dinner. But this time they're having lunch and it's like, yeah, I pretended to be too tired for sex. And it's like, I'm out of it. I'm with Regina now because Pam is making it sound like she's talking herself or trying to convince herself that she's over Mike when in reality, that's not the situation at all. I mean, again, I understand her hesitance of getting serious with Mike because everything that went down in season 3, the way it reflects her father's addiction and overdose when she was a child. But yeah, I mean, her and Mike were serious. I mean, Pam definitely felt a lot, but to just kind of cut it off because, I don't want to just say because of the rehab thing, but I think due to Mike being in rehab for a couple of weeks and Pam stepping away from him and having time to like process everything, I can understand her reluctance, but I definitely feel like it's something that needs to be decided not so quickly. And maybe I misinterpreted the scene. I did watch it twice, even though I did watch the rain scenes like 8 times. Did I say that out loud? Okay. Yes, Pam, I don't know if she let Mike know that she's not feeling him anymore. It seems to me like she's telling Regina what she needs to tell Mike. Because in episode 1, she talks about how, I don't want to break the news about like not really seeing a future with him anymore because he's in a very like delicate and vulnerable state with the rehab. So it's almost like she doesn't want to say anything because she's fearful that it might kind of push Mike off the edge and he'll like start drinking and doing drugs again. Now from there, you got Regina bringing up the fact that she's pregnant, but also angry because, I went over to Bill's last night to talk and he had another woman up in my house and I'm just like, my apartment. I'm thinking like, well, y'all are separated. So, and based on Bill not wanting to let you in, it seems clear that you're not living with him anymore. So technically it's not your apartment, but hey, you're married. So whatever. So essentially, she brings up the fact that she's pregnant. And Pam, look, I talked about Tom throwing a little shade at the doctor, but Pam said one of the coldest lines that I've heard from this character. It's like, oh, I guess you won't be needing this then. Cheers. Basically, she takes Regina's alcoholic beverage and Regina's like, I hate you. And it's like, oh, I'm so sorry, but I'm just saying. And I'm like, that was cold. Like Pam, that was, I don't know what's worse, the fact that she's not telling Mike what she needs to say in regards to them not being together or having a future together, and just lying to his face, or the fact that she did her girl like this. Like her heart is conflicted and torn up and broken. I'm pregnant and my husband was with another woman last night. You won't be needing this. Cheers. Damn, Pam. That needs to be a hashtag. Damn, Pam. Like, that was cold. That was cold. Really cold. All right. So aside from that, of course, the cliffhanger ending involving Claudia. I'm not going to talk about that just yet. Actually, let me go ahead and talk about it anyway. So Claudia runs in, and it turns out she's running from her abusive, crazy, killer, gangster husband. And she runs into Miss Alice. And, Miss Alice protects her by telling her to run through the back. And she's trying to get, the husband out of there who's just yelling, Claudia, I know you're up in here, Claudia. John comes out like he's about to do something. And then Claudia, hey, I'm your husband. You can't run from me. And then he steps out. And then, they're all trying to process what happened. And Laura, who has not been seen since season 1, she's back this season. Laura says that she went through the back door and ran. So, yeah, we'll follow up with this in the next couple episodes, no doubt. But then we go to the last plot point of the episode. So John gets to work and kind of a seminar is going on. He's like, yo, what's happening? And we're introduced to rain. Hallelujah. Rain. Don't you just love rain on a hot summer day when it's sunny and you want some relief and it happens to rain? That's how I felt. No, seriously though, where I live at, it's been like dry as a bone. So we actually got a couple rainstorms this week, even one earlier today. But Selena Kay, I believe is the name of the actress. I know she was in Ruthless as Niecy. Basically, this was season 1. She was the girl that was killed at the compound in order to be Ruth's corpse in the Oval season 1. A lot of lore if you don't remember the shows, but basically she was like minor character in season 1, but to see her playing this role, I think she bodied it. I don't know her height, but I will say this much. For a woman of a small stature, Selena definitely has a demanding or just a presence that like commands your attention. Like, here's the thing. Look, my obvious not so subtle crush aside, what I appreciate about this character, if you didn't notice about me, when I was in college and undergrad, I studied communications, advertising, public relations. So I was really impressed with her demeanor due to the fact, and I'm not talking about her seduction tactics, I'm talking about the branding and whatnot. I, being in college, I have dealt with friends or friends of friends who were part of like pyramid schemes businesses, like Plexus, which I actually did try Plexus. That stuff worked, but then I opted to just eat oatmeal instead, and it did the same thing to my bowel movement. But too much information. Essentially, what was it called? Was it Amway? I think that was another one I remember going to like a meeting for, because it's, those memes. It's like, hey, I haven't. It's like when somebody you haven't seen or talked to in years just pops up out of nowhere. Hey, it's been years. Would you like to catch up for some coffee or something? And then you go to like Starbucks or wherever, and then they like bring out a chart and it's like, well, let me tell you about this business. Like, man, what the fuck? No. But that's essentially what this company, Daily Blessings Inc. is. Wait, DBI? Yeah, Daily Blessings Inc. is. And it's about vitamins and stuff like that. And gosh, I'm sorry, but I'm still just gushing over the fact that she is giving her speech to like a group of people, and she accidentally drops like a can or something, and then John rushes to help out. And when he picks it up off the floor, she's able to incorporate it into her speech. And look, as someone who has done public speaking since I was a kid, and I've done a number of presentations and classes in front of groups of people, just being so innovative and on the spot creativity by inserting anything that happens around you into your speech, I thought was excellent. And she basically like sizes John up, was like, haha, see, he has initiative. He didn't need anybody to tell him to come do something. He saw a problem and he came to fix it. And then, she kind of dismisses the group for a break, and she introduces herself to John, who is understandably very smitten by her at first sight. But this is what I'm compelled so much about the character. How much of this is her actually being attracted to John versus trying to seduce him into becoming part of her team? Now, Laura rushes up and is like, oh, hey, so what exactly does this do? Does this help with weight loss and trying to work on my curves? And she shows a picture of what she used to look like before she started, and they were both shocked, like, wait a minute, what? And then Rain is like, yeah, well, if you sign up for the program, I can help you out and we can get you started. And then Laura's like, okay, so what I got to do? Well, it's a $1,500 down payment. Now, look, let me just say this much. I appreciate the fact that Rain wasted no time dropping the amount, because here's the thing. When you go to one of the, and I've been tricked into going to 2 of these damn meetings. If you go, you got a spokesperson who's telling you about how, hey, if you get involved with this project, here's what will happen. You sell the product, and then you can like move up to different tiers, and then you start making more money. And then once you get 20 people working under you, you're making way more money. So it's basically a pyramid scheme. And it's like, look, here's the founder. He lives in his mansion. He has a car. He has da da da. And then at the very end of the meeting, which is usually about 30 minutes to an hour, that's when they're like, hey, here are some free samples. But if you want to be part of the team, you got to invest like $500. Like, if you don't, do you know how much textbooks were in college? $500. You spend like $600 on textbooks, and then at the end of the semester, when you try to sell them back, you only get like $5. I've been there. I ain't got no $500 for a pyramid scheme. But the fact that she said $1,500 with a straight face, I'm like, what? Like, to me, $1,500 is not a lot. I can make $1,500, and this isn't a brag, but it's like, I'm just saying. But I just know for me personally, $1,500 in terms of the time and what I do, whether it be eBay and or YouTube, I wouldn't be able to join this kind of program because I'm busy doing my own thing. But damn it, could Rain seduce me enough to do it? No. Here's why. Because of the fact that I was an advertising major, so I know what these tactics are. And damn it, she's really good at it. But John is, reluctant. And I ain't gonna lie. Rain was, boosting his ego, telling him everything he wanted to hear, which honestly, I don't feel like it's difficult to do with John, because when you look at how his mom always treats him, he's always talked down to and whatnot and belittled. So to actually have this very attractive woman come up to him and just tell him how he's like, oh, I could tell you're a leader, you have drive, you you have acronym. I think I said that wrong because John said it wrong like 4 times. But basically, it's like the drive and desire to be successful, to be able to focus, to make decisions, things like that. Basically, you can make thousands a week. And I'm just thinking to myself, John, you're skeptical, rightfully so. And Rain just had the proof to back up what she was saying. But the thing was, John wasn't asking the right questions. Okay, you're showing me this check of how much I can make this in a week, in a slow week. But John never said, how exactly do I make that? Now, he could, as she mentioned, oh, this is your business, right? You can sell it right out of here. But in any kind of project like this, you want to know what you're selling. I mean, I get emails all the time of potential sponsors for this YouTube channel, but it's like, I'm not trying to sell female products like makeup and all, because I sure as hell don't use that stuff. So it's basically, I wouldn't try to pander anything to people that I don't or wouldn't use in my own personal life. But essentially, he kind of gives in to her very persuasive tactics. But later in the episode, she closes up shop, by paying her bill at the restaurant. So much that she leaves a tip where she can allow Alice to keep the change. And she even gives her a free sample of the product. And Alice was easily persuaded, like, oh, I like your style. But then she mentions, so how'd everything go? And Rain was like, hey, everything was great. Even had a bit of a spill, but that cute guy over there helped out. Cute guy? You mean John? Oh, okay, yeah, all right, whatever you say. So she takes that free sample and that money and she bolts. So then, yet again, Rain is just showing like, okay, does she really like John, or is it just that she sees a sucker in the making? But I don't know. She goes up to John, asks if he's, consider her offer, but, $1,500 is a bit too steep for him. But she mentions that she will waive the fee because she believes in him that much. But you barely know the guy. But then again, John might have hidden Riz that I don't know about. And keep in mind that Riz is a word that I didn't even know existed until I saw it in a meme, and then I Urban Dictionary'd it, and I'm like, oh, no wonder I didn't know what Riz was, because I sure as hell don't have any. But she's like, hey, I will put your name under my name. Under? you put me under you? My name. Oh, I'm so, like, for real. I'm going to be under you? My name. And I'm like, it took me a few minutes to get, oh, that's what he meant. Oh, I get it. Yeah, John. Okay. But she believes in him that much. And they'll be in contact soon. Baby, can you stop the rain from falling? Only you. Yeah, I got no shame. Damn it, I like rain. Shit, I would have folded. But no, I work alone. I'm like Mr. Incredible. Fly home, buddy. I work alone. Plus, I'm not much of a team player. Yes, do I work with teams in my current employment? No. Can I work for myself? But am I capable of doing so? Yes. But in terms of, yeah, because it's funny because my nephew's elementary bus driver, who was actually the bus driver for me and my sister when we were in elementary school, or was it middle school? I forget. He asked about me because he saw me one day outside the house. This was back in my mom's house, just like a couple of years ago. And he's like, oh, Jeremy's back in town. Like, what is he doing? And then my nephew told him about the YouTube thing. He's like, yeah, he makes good money. I'm like, don't tell people that. But yeah, apparently he tried to like ask me to join like a group that does crypto or something. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. Then he like gave me the sales pitch. I'm like, bruh, I don't want to do it. But he's like, I'll just send you the email anyway. Because I guess they got a quota of like how many people they have to tell about it. I looked at it and I'm like, nah, I'm good. Because I'm not. But essentially, that's what this Daily Blessings Incorporated is. Because even though Rain gave a description of what the product does, if you ask, or well, if you inform someone like, oh, it's $1,500 to get involved with this, and I'm like, wait, what? Because I mean, when Laura walked up to her and asked about the product in terms of weight loss, it's like, I mean, $1,500 up front. It would have been different if it's like, oh, well, we don't just sell like one of our products. Like, you can't just buy like one tub of this. Basically, you need to sign up for, you know, a subscription, so to speak. But that's what you have free samples for. It's like, let me try the product. I'm not just going to dump $1,500 into something. That's why I don't do online dating. I'm sorry, this episode review was turned into a bunch of nothing, but that's why I remember, yo, Jeremy, you need to do something. All you do is stay in your apartment and work. Why don't you go out and meet some? That's what my friends would tell me way back when. And I was like, fine, I'll get a damn account so you'll leave me alone. So I remember going to christianmingle.com and I tried to set up I spent 3 freaking hours setting up a profile because, like, Jeremy, if you want to find somebody, make sure you take the time and answer all them questions. Like, bruh, there's like 500 questions. And I answered everything. And then I set up a profile. And I hate selfies, but I took one. And I did all of this to come to find out, I'm thinking, yeah, I'll do it for like 3 months. I'll set up an account. I'll pay for 3 months. No, you don't do it month by month. You got to, like, pay for 6 months at one time. And I'm like, that makes no sense. This is highway robbery. Because if I got to spend all this money to verify an account, then let's say if I go on a few dates, I got to spend money on gas. The date, look, I'm old school. I will pay for a lady on a date. What if I go on a bunch of dates and it don't work out? That's a lot of money that I waste. And then I focus that money into other things. And now I have a house. So I made the right choice. So yeah, it's like this whole thing seems a bit too good to be true. But then again, she did waive a $1,500 fee. So I guess she likes John. And this goes back to what Lydia told him in episode 1 about how you need to like get yourself together because like what you think you want, you don't want to commit to it when you finally have it in front of you. And then you have Rain who's talking about blessings. And I'm just like, as a Christian, who am I to deny a blessing that's right in front of me? God, you did this. But then it's like, I don't know, because all that glitters is not golden, and rain definitely glistens. So I don't know. I feel like John is in way over his head. Even his mom like, ooh, that girl tricked you. And I'm thinking like, but did she though? Because John hasn't like signed anything. He hasn't put up any money. I don't know. It's way too soon to have me come up with a conclusion on this. I don't know where the season's going yet. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. So yeah, that's all I have to say about blessings. I feel like this video is probably double or triple the length of episode 1. Oops. Well, like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video.